Hi everyone, delonewolf here. Welcome back to Cheetah. Welcome to EVE Talk, your weekly look at the markets in EVE Online. Now, to be honest, with the announcement that the industry changes are going to be delayed by 6 weeks until the release after Chronos, I expect the market to actually take a little bit of a pause. Any influences that the industry changes would have had, I think people are going to hold off on that a little bit. So we might see some stuff like minerals pulling back a little bit, and for the rest, I think a little more people will bring a little bit back to the market, and so I think generally we'll see a decently quiet market this week. But yeah, let's see if that does pan out to be like that. As always, we'll start with plex, 50 seconds. That's what I'll write down. 709 million for the buyers, 720 million for the sellers. It's up a little bit from last week, but it's not too drastic. If you look here at the 20-day moving average, it's steady just below 720 million. If I go for the 1 month chart, yeah, it pulled back up a little bit, but overall the entire month seems to be decently flat. And even here at the tail end, you can see it pulling back a little bit after it hit more than 720. So yeah, it does look, I think, like it's stabilized a little bit in the plex market. Honestly, I'm still hoping for that pullback, but this can once again be delayed by another 6 weeks, because I do think that the ISK sync that is going to come with the industry changes is going to have a big impact here. Of course, that being delayed is again going to have a delay on my expected decline in plex prices. So let's touch on minerals, 150, and let's see what these are doing. Here is titanium, for instance, still nicely up for the entire month, starting close to 520, ending up at 565 on the 20-day moving average. However, you can see in the last few days, I think, a stabilization of the price here on the 5-day moving average chart. In fact, data points plunging back down here, a little data point above 585. So while the trend for the entire month is up, it actually looks like it's continuing. Look at that, 597 for the sellers, 583 for the buyers. Still a big order of 1.8 billion units of titanium, very recent here. 700 million, 500 million, again 500 and 600 million. So they're still pretty big orders, but I'm also seeing here 300 million coming in at 597. So it's still well above the chart, and it actually still looks to me like titanium is going to go up to like 6 ISK, because it's only like at 610 here that we're finally seeing a first 1 billion units coming in. So I think there's still a little bit of margin to increase in price, but close to 610, I think supply is going to start to really flood in and stabilize things. So it could beat 6, but after that it's going to be very hard for titanium to go even higher, I think, especially now. Let's have a look at pyrite then. That one decently stable, and in fact pulling back, is 1235. An actual price point, 1215 for the buyers, 1262 for the sellers. 200 million coming in here, pretty recent at 1263. 500 million being bought, 200 million being bought. So yeah, I think it's slowly starting to taper off here. This overabundance of buyers, where supply was way smaller than that. You can see some bigger orders are coming in. And so I do think Pirate is going to correct a little bit at this point. Yeah, it does look like that to me. It's been stable for pretty much the entire month, maybe up a very small amount if you look at the 20-day moving average, but it's already pulling back down here. So yeah, Pyrite stable too, maybe slightly down. Let's have a look at Mixelon. That one was up in the previous weeks quite nicely, yeah, going from 49.40 heading up towards 50.50, 50.60, something like that. It's a little bit of an increase. I think the 6-month chart looked a little bit better. Well, not that much, honestly. Been stable, but not too quick rise here of Mixelon, except for that 5-day moving average here, that big spike. After it broke 48, it went right back up towards 50. So that was a nice little spike here, but in general it's up but not too fast. And let's have a look at supply demand situation. Yep, much smaller orders coming in here. Look at that, 34 million, 40 million, 30 million. You get 20 million, 12, 10, 60 million coming in here. 5101, 5127. So it's probably going to stay above 51 ISK, but it's not going to shoot up anymore just because the demand numbers don't seem to be here at the moment. Let's have a look then at Isogen, also still a HiSig one. I knew a really nice spike here from 133 to 139, but you can see in the last week or so that it has stabilized a little bit as well. And let's have a quick look at current prices. 133 for the buyers, 139 for the sellers. And the huge orders, well, here still 20 million coming in. That's pretty big, but it's no longer a single order that is going to be more than the entire front page of the buyer of the sell market. Here we are seeing 5 million coming in, 5 million coming in, pretty recent, just below 140. So I don't think it's, maybe it will break 140, but that's going to be short-lived. Once it does, I do think people are going to bring their Isogen to the market to try and sell it at those decently high prices, historically speaking, although maybe not completely historically speaking. But yeah, for the 1 year, as you can see on the 1 year chart, if it would break 140, it's been quite a long time since we've seen that, and so I do think people will jump on that opportunity. Let's go back for the 1 month chart, but yeah, that's pretty interesting. You know, it does look to me like the increase in price for HiSig minerals has been stalling a little bit. Noxium, as I've said, is a little bit of an in-between mineral. That one went up quite sharply together with Isogen, but it's already correcting back a little bit, I think. Touched, let's see here, 754, let's see at current prices, 752, so yeah, it's going back down a little bit. 1 million units, 1.6 million units here, 1.7 million units, and then we get a few older ones at 3 million, but the more demand, it's still there a little bit, but on the recent orders, it's all coming down a little bit. You know, these new buy orders are not as massive as what we've seen before, so Noxium, expect that to start moving sideways in my opinion. Let's have a look at some null-sec ones. Megasite, definitely a sideways movement over the entire month, and as I've said, it's usually the sell orders that are dictating this, so I shouldn't overanalyze the supply demand market, but the fact that here 4 million units are coming in at 1591 is indeed a sign that people are definitely willing to part ways with their Megasite at current prices. So yeah, just I think we're seeing more stable prices in the next week or so for Megasite as well. Let's have a look at Zydrine next. Yeah, definitely down a little bit for the entire month. Over here it touched 685, then it went back up a little bit. So if it stays like between the 685 700 mark, yeah, 698, 698, so no margin. But 1.2 million units coming in just below 700 million, so it's really going 700 ISK for the price, I mean. So I think it's going to be just around that price for the foreseeable future. Honestly, this looks like a decently healthy margin. Look at that market, 2.5 million, 2.8 million. This bigger order of 1.2 million is going to have to be absorbed by the market, and the buyers are willing to go up to 700 ISK as well, so that does look like it's the new price point for Zydrine, 700 ISK. Where the market meets and where it's probably going to stay for a little bit unless something drastic happens. But as I've said, with the delay in the industry changes, I think we are looking at a much calmer market for now. Finally, we also have Morphite. Again, you know, it's down a little bit, but this is really nothing to write home about. A little bit of a correction after it broke 7,800, and it's staying at around the 7,900 mark for the sellers, which is really for something like Morphite, which the part that dictates the price. So yeah, to me it looks like the mineral market has cooled down quite a little bit, and it's going to be a lot more stable in the next few days and weeks. So next up we'll touch on Tech 2 stuff, no, Tech 1 chips, 940. Let's have a look here at the Drake. Again, you see here it tried to go up. It broke 49 million, but it's correcting right back. So I think, yep, here we go. 38 of them being brought to the market at 48.5. As I've said, with the Tech 1 chips, people are producing a lot of them, but they're only bringing them to the market once they see a selling opportunity. And this is why this little spike, which is not even that big, 2 million up, was very short-lived. It's already correcting right back to prices of 48.5 for the sellers, 46.5 for the buyers. So that's definitely very close to one another. And if something would happen that the price would go up all of a sudden, people are just going to bring their ships to the market to try and take advantage of that. So a stable market here again is what I'm looking at, in my opinion. Maelstrom up quite a little bit, but again here you see, let's have a look here. Yep, 201 million. So people have basically the market has dried up a little bit for some reason. Maybe someone has bought a lot of Maelstroms for a Nullsec Alliance to make a few of those fleets, hopefully in preparation of a summer war. That would be awesome. But I do expect in the next week that we'll see Maelstroms coming to the market, pulling that price right back down. Honestly, I think this price of 200 million is going to be very short. And that is going to come right back to more like a 192, 194 maybe at first. But yeah, the Maelstrom, I know it's up, and that's not what happened to the Drake, but it's clear that the market has dried up. Someone came in and bought a lot of them, and so I do think we'll see supply coming pretty damn quickly. Let's have a look at the Omen next. 9.9, 10.9, so that seems pretty stable to me. Yep, exactly, it's a pretty stable market here again. The Rock taking off again at 220, yep, 225, again a drying up of the Rock. My expectation here again is that we'll see rocks coming to the market to take advantage of this higher price point, and that it will come back down pretty quickly. But that's interesting. 2 battleships that have been bought out basically. Are the Nullsec guys starting to make their moves, starting to make their preparations? It could be interesting. The Talos, again, if you look at the entire 1 month chart, it looks decently stable at like a 74 million price point, and we're seeing 75.6 for the sellers, 70.9 for the buyers. Right in between that is the 72-74 million price band. 37 coming here, 30 coming here, so it's not like we can expect the Talos to shoot up or anything. And pretty much, yeah, the first half of this entire page 995 are pretty recent orders, even these 3 and 13 here. So there is the demand as well, there is the supply. This is an okay looking market. This has made me a little bit curious. I want to see what the other Tech 1 battleships have done. So let's have a look here. Apocalypse is sometimes pretty interesting. That's up a little bit here, again a spike, but here that downward movement has already been engaged. Armageddon, yep, again a spike here. Abaddon, what does that say? Here again spiked up again. This is pretty interesting. And is it again because it's been dry? Yeah, all of these are very recent orders. So again, this is because the market dried up for those battleships. That's pretty interesting, not something I would have expected. Let's have a look at the Raven. It's mostly a PvE ship, so that one is probably more stable. Scorpion up a little bit, but here again in the last week, nothing too dramatic to report. We know maybe the Typhoon, that one is up too. And is that a drying up of the market? Yeah, again, people buying a lot of Typhoon. Tempest, is that working on this? No, too much. I think it's a little bit too much to do it right now, although it's not that many Tempest battleships. If someone decides to buy it, we could see that spike materialize here as well. What's the Dominics been doing? Yep, again big spike in the Dominics. Supply coming in at 200 million. Price before that's more like 185. So yeah, that one went up here pretty big as well. Hyperion, it's already on its way back down, but again it went from 206 to 220. Yeah, there was a lot of activity here in the battleship markets, at least on some of them. The Megatron here again is a pretty stable one. Could this be Nullsec guys buying up a lot of them to make their fleets in preparation of something big? I think it's a possibility. If you think it's speculation, that's a possibility as well. But honestly, that's a lot of battleships, and that's a lot of ISK to try and manipulate the market in that way. While most people, I think, do know that this is going to be plugged pretty damn quickly. So interesting stuff here in the battleship market. I'm a little bit surprised by that. 15 minutes. We'll touch on Take 2 stuff very quickly. To the Absolution again here. Nice little second spike. So yeah, I think this is great in showing the trade potential of these Take 2 command ships. I said I'm considering investing in it. I haven't done so yet. I've been busy with some other stuff. Astarte, that's from where to where? 220 to 240, so that's a pretty good spike. But now it's a little bit more stable and hanging around 240. So still try to sell, but don't buy just yet. Claymore, yeah, coming into maybe if you can pick some up at the buy orders, that could be interesting. Damnation here again working on a double spike after hitting 260. Is it going to go up to 280? Yep, 294 for the sellers. If you have some cheap Damnations that you bought below 230, you're looking at a nice opportunity to sell them. EOS is working on a downward spiral here. If you can pick some up on buy orders, I think it's a good idea. Same here with the Guardian. Look at that, going well below 135, which is dangerous. You know, if a war does materialize, Guardian could go up substantially all of a sudden. Nighthawk, let's see, is that starting to hit 220? It's a little early. It's still a lot of sell orders over here, so maybe if you can pick some up on the sell orders, but I wouldn't be too aggressive here. Sleipnir, I think it's too early. We need to see dip closer to 220 for that. And the Vulture worked on a nice little spike here. It's coming back down, but you're still in sell opportunity territory in my opinion. So yeah, here we go, especially the Absolution here. That was some awesome trade money that's been made and lost here. And so this is why I do like Take 2 ship market for this type of stuff. Next up, Take 3, 17 minutes. So that was a pretty good fast run of the Take 2 ships. The Legion here worked on its spike towards 140. It's stabilizing again. Are we seeing supply coming in? Yes, we are. 80 Legions coming to the market, just below 141. Here another 12, here another 19, another 15. All of these are pretty damn recent. So the oversupply is here. It just stalled a little bit for the Legion, but this price is going to correct back. Next up, the Loki. It didn't even spike, and we're seeing 100 Lokis coming in at 123.5 million. So yeah, oversupply. If you need an example, this is it. There is really no reason to put all of these Lokis on the market unless you're going out of the Take 3 manufacturing and you're just dumping your stocks and saying, well, I'm going to go into something else to make my money. And so that's probably what happened here. I think someone gave up. I think that's my analysis of it. Proteus again staying well below the 135 mark, and we're still seeing 26 of them coming in, which is a pretty big amount if you look at some of these buy orders. Tango here again, 91 of them coming in, 50 of them coming in. It spiked up to 140. It's already correcting back. It's already back towards 136 million. So it's going to be short-lived. The oversupply in the Take 3 market, there can be no doubt that it is still there. There is a lot of production going on, I think, in wormhole space of these ships, and unless something drastic happens, they get like a big buff or something, I think this market is going to continue to struggle and going to keep hitting all-time lows more and more, because people fly other ships. They're introducing new pirates faction ships that are pretty damn awesome, that people want to fly. And so yeah, the Take 3 ships, they've gone a little bit to the back of the market really, and there's just not that much to report, except that it's way oversupplied at the moment. Look at that Legion, that one spike gets snuffed right away with more than 100 Legions being brought to the market. So yeah, that's it for the Take 3 ships. For the extra material, I'm going to just have a quick look at the Venture, because I want to see if there's an impact. Someone actually asked this. I want to see, I'll put down 1930 for the extra stuff. I want to see if that one has seen an impact with the announcement of the Tech 2 version of that of the mining frigate. Someone else asks me for Tech 2 salvage. Honestly, I know nothing of that market, so I will maybe quickly go for have a quick look at like some Tech 2 rigs that might be useful. Something like medium armor rigs, Tech 2 Trimark armor pump, something like that. Maybe that could be something that touches on that, but I don't even know where to really go look for them. So honestly, here this is the 6-month chart of Tech 2 rigs. This feels decently stable to me. You know, prices went down after Odyssey. That is definitely true, because with the new tractor unit and the salvage drones, supply has increased quite a lot. But if you look at the second part of the chart, all of this looks decently stable. So honestly, I think to make a move in salvage is just too late for that. People have gotten used to the salvage drones, people have gotten used to the new tractor units, making everything way more efficient. And so the market is pretty stable, it's well supplied. Here we see a little bit of a spike, but even, I mean, that's super short-lived, and it's right back in a pretty stable situation. So for Tech 2 rigs, you know, right now everything for rigs in general, I would say they've come down because of the changes with the salvage drones, with the mobile tractor unit, and so now they are in a well supplied market, and I don't think we can expect any drastic moves on that front, because they're not that dependent on the industry changes. You know, you salvage stuff to get the materials, and then all you really need to do is have a BPO ready, a lot of which are pretty cheap, pretty small, pretty easily researched, and then just start making that stuff. It's not like it is that valuable that the increase in price is going to have such an impact. So honestly, the rig market and the salvage market, I think, is looking at one of the more stable ones, despite the announced industry changes, which have been delayed as well. So I don't think we'll see a big move there. Let's have a look at the venture then. Here we go, venture. It dropped down, although honestly it's not that big of an impact, from maybe 390 to 360,000 ISK. It's, of course, it's only a frigate, so don't expect too big a move on that. I'm seeing a lot of supply coming in, but these are not that recent orders either. You know, 385 of them, 375 of them, 225 of them. People are buying them in bulk, probably hoping to unload them at a better price somewhere else. Demand though, I do see this drying up a little bit. It's not that much, although they're pretty big here, 1,000 of them being bought. So honestly, this looks like a pretty established market already. Maybe this downtrend here from 390 on the 20-day moving average to 360 could be attributed to the prospect, the Tech 2 version of the venture coming with Chronos, but overall this doesn't look like an overreaction or a complete sell-off or an opportunity in any real way just yet. I think if you have the capabilities of producing Tech 2 stuff, and you can produce the new Tech 2 venture, the prospect, that is probably going to make you a lot of money. But in the venture market, I don't think you're going to lose a huge amount just because you've been producing ventures or anything like that. This market, there is demand for this. People do take ventures out just because they are so cheap. The Tech 2 version is going to be quite a bit more expensive. And so yeah, honestly, the venture, I think it's still an okay product to produce. It's my opinion, of course, but yeah, I think this price decline is not in such a nature that you should be worried about the venture at this point. Anyways, that's it for this EVE Talk, guys. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you all next time.